Good morning, everyone. All the ladies are all coming on.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, and welcome to our first ever Women in Music coffee morning with the Ivors Academy, who obviously are amazing society and academy. So thank you so much, ladies, for joining me today. And of course, if you were here, I would be making you all coffee. Just giving Kate a little bit of envy there.
No, I've got my tea now.
Oh, you got one. Oh, well done.
It's sorted, yeah.
So, ladies, I just thought it would be really nice for us to sit and have a chat and talk about, you know, some of our experiences, some of how we're coping on lockdown and stuff like that. So, and also a little bit about our journey. So, who should we go with? Kate. We were obviously guys. So, Kay, you're next to me. So, tell us a little bit about your journey. How did it start?
So, I went to a performing arts school called Arts Ed, because I initially wanted to do musical theatre, and then even though I still loved that, it just didn't sit right with me. My teachers kept asking me why I was singing like that, which was riffing and just basically singing like a pop star, and I was like really got my back up about it, and I was like, that's how I sing, I'm not going to change it. And they were like, well, you should probably go to a music school then. So I was like, I never even thought about that. I never even really thought about going to like a music college, but my head was just in musical theatre. So I left early and went to a music college where I only went for a year because I just thought I don't want to like do 3 years and waste time. So I went there. I met my manager through one of my teachers, not my current manager, my old manager, who saw me performing at Shepherd's Bush Empire for our graduation. And she basically introduced me to this lady called Anna, who worked with a manager called Nick Worthington, who worked at Black Butter. So I signed to them for management and went on the road with these DJs called Bondax, because he was publishing them at the time. So I toured with them as their vocalist for like 2 years on and off. We went to Australia, like did all the festivals, it was amazing. Then I came out and featured on this Oliver Heldens track, which went top 4 or was number 4 in the charts. So then all the labels like attacked me. These times I was like 18.
Wow.
And then I finally signed to Warner when I was 19, signed my publishing to Global. And then I basically just was with them for about 2 years, and it was just a sham. A total and utter sham.
Real talk here.
Real talk, yeah. I mean, I signed at the same time as another really big act, another really big person who's big now.
Yeah.
And she got all my budget. They could see her flying, so they gave her my budget. They gave her my time.
Wow.
I wasn't allowed to release anything. Everything was shelved, put on hold. 2 years of no release, 2 years of no video, 2 years of no budget, 2 years of promises that didn't happen.
But you've come out the other side.
But I came out stronger, and I'm not salty about it either, because what will be will be.
And now you've met your new manager.
Yeah, so now I've met my new manager, who I love. She's in New York. She manages Lauryn Hill and myself.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm on the right path now with the right people finally.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously I explained to Warner when I signed to them that I made R&B music. I told them that this is the music, the way that I want to go. These are the people that I love. And they were like, yeah, we get it. And then lo and behold, it was something.
You know, this is very typical that this happens. And basically, a lot of the time, you know, and this is good for everybody to know this if you're any artist watching this, because if you want to make your direction and have it, you need it established before really get your sound together, don't you? And then also stay true to that. When you found
at 18, it's really difficult to stay true to like what you've said, because obviously when you've got like head of Warner saying you should do this, you're like, yeah, he must be right, he must be. But now at 25,
Did any of the others of you experience that? And also, it's interesting to bounce over to Michelle now, because obviously Michelle is on the other side. Oh my God, I mean, you've had a flourishing career, Michelle, featuring on like Artful Dodger. I mean, you've made some incredible records over the year. And then, I mean, obviously now you've gone into, which is an amazing thing, to give your time to help new songwriters. You're at Tile Yard Education.
Yeah.
And, you know, so you're sharing everything that you know. But did you like kind of, again, like trying to coerce into doing things when you, what's your story basically?
Of course. So I came from a musical family. So my dad taught us all how to sing. I'm the baby of the family. So there's like an 11 years gap between me and my sisters. So I started singing in the group when I was 7. And went semi-professional with them at 9, doing like, you know, weddings, bar mitzvahs, banquets, all that kind of stuff. And then went professional at 16. We signed to an American label. We signed to Atlantic Records. So I was trying to do my A-levels and sing and be in the studio recording. And yeah, so my education suffered at that time, because obviously music kind of started to become precedent. But what we found was, because we signed to an American label, East West Records was here in the UK, which was basically Atlantic Records, but they wouldn't touch us because they were like, oh, you're an American band. No,
yeah,
yeah, but you're signed to Atlantic. So it was this kind of battle with them of, they didn't want to release our stuff, or we had to wait for America. And that kind of really held up our
so many politics.
Progress. Yeah, so many politics. And then I got headhunted to join another girl group called Truce, which was like early to mid 90s as their principal songwriter. So that's kind of how I cut my teeth in terms of writing songs and then starting to write songs for other people. And then I was like, I don't really want to be living out of a suitcase for the rest of my life. So I want to focus on songwriting, because I was never the party girl. So when the other two were out partying and whatever, I'd be in the hotel room by myself, like, what do I do? It paid off to be signed. I was lucky, I guess, because I got headhunted to sign to EMI Music Publishing. So Guy Moot at the time was head of international A&R, and he called me up one day and was like, if you want a real deal, come and speak to us. And I was like, yeah, so I signed to them. I think it was 2000. I think I signed to them, and then the Artful Dodger stuff happened, and the Tina stuff happened, and loads of other things happened. And yeah, it's been great, and I've loved it, and I've loved all the kind of revolutions of how the music industry has evolved over time. Even though we're in a precarious situation right now, it does also force us to have more output and to be more creative in ways that we make music.
Yeah, I think the one thing that's already becoming very obvious here, like from our perspective and for the people watching us, is that when you start your career, no matter how you start, it's like a snake. It's suddenly you go down another path and another door opens.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there is no quick way to jump to the goal, because I know one of the questions someone had sent in was like, how do you get to work with artists? And there really is no shortcut. It is you have to walk on your journey and see which doors open. Yeah. Which, I mean, the interesting thing, guys, at you two, Tara and I have had a pretty similar kind of, don't mention that show though, Tara. Don't mention it. I'll never speak to you again if you do. Tara and I both were on this television show, not at the same time. And you know, but we went straight in, didn't we? Like off on touring. I mean, you do what you've got to do to get into music if you want to do it. And you know, fund it any way that you can. So we both chose the same route, which we were singing ABBA bands, function bands, writing songs,
anything.
Day,
well,
dancing.
I had quite a similar journey to Kate, really, because I knew when I was really young. I think every singer or performer knows when they're a very young child, you know, they want to perform on stage, and the only thing that was really available to me was musical theatre. So I did an open call when I was 9, and I ended up being in Les Miserables for 2 years.
Wow.
And so then that was like, right, now I'm on stage. This is amazing, you know. So I did a lot of musical theatre. And then you're sort of advised you've got to go to a stage school. So I went to Italia Conti for 2 years, hated it. And then the Brit School opened. So I moved to the Brit School because by then when I was 14, I knew I wanted to make records and not to be a character on stage. And the whole theatrics of theatre, although I love theatre, it just didn't feel like authentic to me.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Authentic. That's what I felt.
Yeah, genuine. And
I do feel
also,
like, no disrespect, but musical theatre people is a very, very, that's a type of person. You have to live and breathe it.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was being fake because I just don't, that's not me.
It's interesting, isn't it? But I mean, linking, we'll come back to Tara in a minute because I do want to hear the rest of your story, but linking back to Michelle, I think if we'd have had teachers like Michelle back at college, we would have wanted to have done it and stayed there. But back, you know, a few years ago, we didn't have access like the guys do now to people who actually have done it and succeeded. They were like, you need to write a song like this, but actually you don't actually know. You've never written a hit song. How are you telling me? Because that's what I experienced. I was just like, I'm out. I'm just going to go on the road and get my own experience. So at 17, I was off out touring. But sorry, Tara, to drag you back.
No, I think like I'm the only person in the family that's ever worked in music. Like my dad's a van driver or was a van driver. My mum was a secretary. So I used to, even as a kid, like when I got the Les Miserables thing, I had so many fights with my mum. She was like, I don't want you to do it. How are we going to get you to London every day to be in this show? And I was like, I've got to do it. I was crying on the train home from audition, begging her. Yeah. And then my dad would be like, no, we've got to let her do it. This is her future. This is what she wants to do. And I hated school anyway. And then when I was 12, because of the unnamed TV show that Victoria and I both was on separately, I'd heard of Victoria for years because we lived in neighbouring villages. So I was aware there was another girl that lived close to me that was trying to do music because, you know, I grew up in this tiny little village, no shops or anything. I had no access. And if you said to your teacher or something, oh, I want to be a pop star, you know, it was like saying, I want to be an astronaut or, you know, like. It's
like, yes, now let's look at the real job list, nursing, thing. And I'm like, no, I want to be in music. And they're like, stop daydreaming, you need to have a reality check. And I'm like, no, I'm going to be in music.
Well, I think the turning point for me, like when I was 12, I because of the unnamed talent show on TV, as a kid I sang some songs and I won a couple of weeks on the show. And then UNICEF were doing this big like songwriting competition, and it was like a children's Eurovision. So it was hosted by Audrey Hepburn, and the Queen of Holland was there. And because I'd done this TV show, the producer said, would I want to represent England? So I did it, and I ended up winning this competition, which was crazy, and making my first record called Make Your Own Rainbow, and then going to Africa and delivering school supplies to like really remote villages outside of Kenya. And so that really changed my whole perspective on life, and the way that you can see music is like making a fun song like Make Your Own Rainbow for children, and then suddenly going to Africa and making a music video. My dad came with me. My dad said it was the best experience of his life, and which really pissed my mum off. She was like, not the birth of your children, not our wedding. It was like, no mate. Like, you know, children singing to him in Swahili, and you know, it was magical. And that's when I saw like music, how it can, you know, change lives, raise money for causes, and also take you around the world. Because I'd never had a holiday abroad, you know. It was like going to Holland was the first time I'd ever left England, and then going to Africa after that, it was like, wow, I've been to 2 countries in a year. And then when you sort of fast forward 15 years later and living out a suitcase for the last like 10 years. Crazy.
Tara, it's interesting because we can cue into something here quite interesting because you know, we both did the same thing, and I don't know if you guys Kay and Michelle, you did the same thing, but we used to go obviously to like the Kashmir Club and the Bedford. And I cannot emphasize enough to everyone watching this how important it is to go like to the Ivors events, like networking events at Tile Yard, because you can meet people. because that's really how my career really took to the next level, was by Ivors Kashmir Club. I say it, you know, ASCAP did an event there, PRS did, and I used to go and I used to meet other writers, and that's how I got invited to perform there. And then I got asked to write with other people, you know what I mean? And that really, again, it's about finding opportunities, isn't it, to open doors?
That's exactly what
our careers.
It happened to me as well, actually, at Balham, the Bedford, run by Tony Moore, and I just sent in some demo tapes. At that time I was doing like a soul acoustic thing, and it was like really organic, and I don't think my writing was very, very good back then, but someone could see, actually it was Universal Publishing, and they brought me in. They said, look, we like your vibe, we'd like to give you a couple of tracks. And then I had a couple of cuts as a writer with a boy band that did quite well, and then a random dance record that was only released in Russia on a compilation, I don't know, but I played them the two things that I had that were released, and they said, oh, we've got this track for Axwell, we haven't found the top line for it. So I wrote this top line, and then it ended up being, you know, like Axwell's breakthrough hit and all over Radio 1, and so it was because of going and doing a free gig at the Bedford, and then because of Axwell Feel the Vibe, that's when Armand Van Helden approached me to sing My, and then because that blew up, then David Guetta came in and was like, oh, I want you to write some stuff for my album. So then I had, you know, luckily a few hits with David Guetta, so then I was just touring constantly, and then finally to sign my own artist deal.
And I think the thing is, once those doors, it's like, you know, obviously I was very blessed to have a song that won a Grammy and everything.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And that facilitated my career when I wanted to go to LA. It just opened so many doors, and it's about coming from nowhere and finding situations and trying everything, working with a lot of people, finding out who's right. But this guys, and Kate, this will be good for you, this one. Do you feel like as a writer, once you've started writing, like, have you gained, because I mean, you're like the baby out of all of us, beautiful baby. And you are a dear friend, and you know, do you feel I mean, I work with you, so I know how strong a writer you are, but do you feel you had to learn very quickly how to write? Was it a steep learning curve? And would there be any tip that you feel that you could share with everyone watching with us today that could really help their writing?
Well, at Tech, the music college that I went to, we had a songwriting class, which if I could go back in time, I would not attend.
You really said it like
I don't know why I'm listening to it.
It hasn't been so much
about
was he that teacher that he
songwriting?
Was never had a hit? Was he one of those?
Of course, you never had a hit. I mean, come on. Like my music school was a really good music school. It's like, it's a good one. But she didn't, like, no. So I was just like, that was a waste of time, and I knew at the time that it was a waste of time. So I just didn't really pay attention. Like,
so it was getting in the trenches you learned.
Yeah. So then I got out of school and just started writing really slowly. Like, I started writing with this guy, this producer, Karma Kid, and me and him just got in the studio like every day pretty much, because my manager had a studio in Old Street at what's that place called? I forgot the name of the studio, but it's a really, really nice studio in Old Street, and she used to put us in there pretty much every day, and me and him would just write, and I used to be, my first songs were so bad. So bad. Hey? Oh yeah, Strong Room.
I remember Strong Room.
Yeah. So we used to work in the Strong Room.
Great studio.
Yeah, really nice. And we'd just work in there, and the songs were really trash. And then I wasn't really worried though, because I was like, I have never written a song. But my brother's a songwriter.
Oh wow!
Had a lot of. Just had the Nick Jonas hit, didn't he?
He just wrote the last Jonas Brothers song, "What a Man Gotta Do." Yeah.
Wow.
So he's an amazing songwriter. So he always like helped me, because he's 5 years older than me, and he's been doing it for ages. He was a guitarist first.
I mean, I'd say you're a pretty, like, I've worked with quite...
Well, now, but...
You're strong.
I was like 17.
You're strong on top lines and you're strong on melodies. And
thank you.
know. The good thing about you, I would say, is you know what you want when you're in the studio.
Yeah, I think because I'm just like with singers, like, on another topic, but not really. Like, if someone sends me, like, my friend sent me a singer the other day and said, oh my God, listen to this girl's voice. And although her voice was amazing, it's not the kind of voice that I like. I'm very particular.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it easier for me to write for me, because I'm very particular with the music that I listen to. I know a lyric that can make me cringe. Like, I know what it is that I like.
Yeah.
Like,
one of the things that...
a lot of stuff that I just listen to a lot and have listened to since I was growing up. So I basically just, like, I don't know, take ideas from people that inspire me. That's why it's easier for me to write for me. And whenever I write for other people, I guess it's got like you would probably know that I would have written it because of the melodies, maybe.
The thing is, with them also, another thing, just to share with everyone watching and listening, is the fact that when sometimes Kate and I are in the studio, we will actually, you know, you get in the room, it's like most people, this is kind of what happens as a standard, isn't it? We get in the room and we start nattering about what's going on. It's not deliberate, we're just gossiping and chatting. Then something becomes like poignant that's said, and then and for some reason that sometimes is the thing that you end up writing about. I mean, I know Kay and I, we have some of our lyrics are quite humorous. They're quite funny because we talk about people that we know, and we find like the funny side of it. But that's something that we do.
Yeah, I write a lot about my friends. My friends just have the most stupidest issues I've ever heard in my life. A lot of my friends aren't like busy like what we are. Do you know what I mean? So they've got a lot of time to just be busy with other social stuff and just dumb stuff. So I'm inspired by my friends.
So would you say drawing on experience is
Oh yeah. I personally usually draw off my friends' experiences only because their stories are a lot more interesting than mine.
Because you're always in the studio every day.
Exactly. Mine is going to the gym and then like coming home and eating dinner, like it's really not that deep. Whereas my friends, especially the ones that are single, just have so many funny, crazy, stupid stories.
Things to write about.
Yeah, exactly, things to write about. So I'm always just talking, not like talking to them to be like, hey, I want to write a song, tell me about your life. I just mean when they talk to me, I just take note of stuff that they say. I wrote a song called Bad Enough about my friend, and I always write about that one friend. She just has so much stuff going on.
Real.
I think one of the things that I would share that I learned, and the thing is, working with people, this is another reason to get in the room and work with a lot of people, because the more you work, you can be like a sponge and take the experiences and the wisdom of others that you work with. I work with Crystal Link, and she wrote Rihanna, Only Girl in the World. And I remember I was in a session with Benny Blanco and her, and it was on a camp for her. And I was coming up, she was like singing these melodies in the room and writing these lyrics. And she was like, Lady V, like, why are you doing that? And I'm like, doing what? She goes, you know, I can't fault your lyrics. She goes, I love your lyrics. She goes, but why are you like dancing around over the top of this beat? She said, you got to slice through it. She goes, you got to think about the urban patterns they slice. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, well, think about it. I'm gonna make you feel. And I was like, oh my God. And I realized that some of the melodies weren't locking in to the track in the right way, especially if you're doing urban and R&B. They need to do that. And in that single explanation to me, it was as if just the penny dropped and I got it and I knew to fix it. Michelle, did anything like that happen for you? Did you ever learn? Have you got some tips that you think you're going to share?
Well, PJ asked what my first memory of songwriting was. So my first memory of songwriting was when I was 16 and my sister locked me in her bedroom. So that is my first experience. And she lured me into her bedroom under false pretenses.
Even worse.
Okay. And she locked the door, and I was like, oh.
She locked you in?
Yeah, she locked me in, and she was like, we have to finish this album. We got 2 songs to go. You're going to help me write. And I'm like, I don't write songs. I write poetry, I write raps, but I don't write songs. She's like, well, you're going to write today. Write today.
Write today.
I was in her room for like 6 hours, 7 hours or something, just crying. But we wrote 2 songs and they made the album. So that's how I started. Something I can do. And I guess for me, I'm terrible at networking. Like, I'm really bad at going into rooms and going,
I'm the same. I'm terrible at networking.
So bad.
Right now.
I'm like, okay, see you later. I'm terrible at that. So my thing was, because I was fortunate to be exposed to producers and writers because of my sisters. So I would just be that pest. I would be that one that would be like, what does that button do? What does this do? And if I did this, and could you listen to my demo? Like, I was that kid, like, please listen to my demo. And, you know, just got to cut my teeth on getting feedback from professionals that said, this line is good, but you need to work on that, or you need to work on your chorus. And I got my first release after the album was a boy group called Rhythm and Bass. And that group had Ali Tennant, had Wayne Hector, like one of the biggest songwriters ever, and George and John Hammond Hagen. And George and John I wrote Just a Little with. I know
the Big Pocket.
Yeah, so I wrote a song for them. I used to be like the balladeer. So I wrote a song for them called Blame It on the Rain, and that made their album. And I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
So that's kind of how I got into it. And I think I agree with Kate that you just have to do it. You just have to do it and keep doing it. And one of the things that the first time I was asked to tutor and teach at degree level for songwriting, I laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed, because I was like, how do you teach people to be songwriters? How do you do that? How are you proposing that we do this for like a year, 2 years? Like,
there's a natural gift, isn't there, Michelle? I mean, it comes into it. There is the craft. I always call it the craft of songwriting, but then there is natural ability.
I agree. So I think that, you know, if you're a songwriter, you're a songwriter, and you've got that gift, you've got that talent. But then what you can learn is honing that talent. You can learn the craft. You can learn about the phrasing, about timing, about rhyme and rhythm. And like you said, like cutting through, sitting in the pocket. You can learn those things and hone those things. But no one can reach into your head and press a button and say, this is how you write hit songs. It's
like when I was at school, everyone was like, can you teach me how to riff? And I was like, no. You either have it or you don't.
Yeah.
Sorry, but isn't it? Like, I don't think songwriting is the same thing, but because I do think you could, because my first songs were trash, but like I think
songs were trash.
Yeah, but it's like, if you want to do the splits, you've got to keep stretching. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. What's your best riff you can do, Kate?
Oh no, come on, don't put me on the spot.
Oh, come on.
Listen to my music, okay?
Come on. What's your best
Someone actually sent me on Instagram yesterday a riff challenge, and I was like, I'm not even attempting that one. No way.
Sorry. I think I've seen that with Lizzo.
I don't know who was doing it, but it was an amazing riff, and I kind of took like 5 minutes and then was like, oh no.
Your mama, you could totally hold your own. If you did it, you could totally hold your own.
No, I know. I couldn't be bothered. I'm lazy.
What would you share, Tara? What do you think is really important in the studio when you're writing a song? What do you think is essential?
Well, I agree with what you've all been saying. Really, I think it's going with your gut. Like, I always listen to, say if I'm sent an instrumental, because I've mainly, when I'm writing for others, has been for dance tracks. I listen through a few times. Someone will send you like an 8-minute instrumental, and then you've got to chop it down and make a radio edit from it. That's a good skill to have, because you have to sort of think about the flow of which section sounds like a chorus to me or a drop. Which section would you have as, you know, bridge, middle eight kind of part, bar length. That's a skill that I've kind of learned on the job, really. Like for the Axwell record, that was like, I don't know, 12 minutes or something stupid for a radio edit. And I was like, this is definitely the chorus. So I can always hear like the structure really well. And then even when I was a kid, like Michelle, I was so interested in poetry. I had a really, I used to love like sitting in a park and just like writing thoughts and things like that. And so as a lyricist, I think that's really helped because you've already got the passion for interesting words. And I like songs that are very conceptual. Like I'm going through a conceptual phase, everybody. So I'm trying to like find, I'm doing a Halloween EP because I also love like Elvira and gothic horror and all this kind of stuff. And the same as Kate said, stories from my friends, because I think if you are in music, it does kind of galvanize all your time and your life revolves. It's not that interesting. Even if you're doing a glamorous event, it's still like plane, car, hotel, room service. After a while, it's just monotonous. And my sister's got an amazing source of inspiration from bad dates and from Tinder and all of this. I'm writing a song at the moment called Trick or Treat, which is, you know, about a blind date and you just don't know if they're for real or a freak or, you know. So she's giving me a lot of inspiration. And then sometimes I do suffer with a crisis of confidence. And I find even if I've got somebody in the room that doesn't necessarily do much towards the writing process, just having somebody to bounce ideas off for me, and if someone else likes it as well, if I'm having one of those days where I've got self-doubt,
that happens a lot.
Because we're performers as well. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes you need somebody to perform your idea to, and that having someone else in the room for me, I bounce off that energy a lot, and that really does help me. I work better with others than on my own.
I hate
100%.
writing on my own. It's so boring.
It is boring. You either want to do that and be a lone star, or you just, I like the whole camaraderie of being in the room. I like having a giggle in the session.
Me too.
So this, oh my God, this brings us to now. Because we are obviously all locked in our houses.
Yes.
So, and now, Kay and I touched on this yesterday when we were chatting, like, have you all done a Zoom session yet? Because it's like, how are we all coping on, Michelle, let me come to you in a minute, because I know I want to discuss something with you, because you've been doing amazing. But like, Michelle, Tara and Kate, how are you coping? Lockdown, creativity, sessions, what's happening? Kate?
I tried, as well as you and like 2 other people, I write a lot with this girl called Nafira, and me and her are like, literally like this, like we write so much together that we know like what we both like we already can tell. So I've got a bunch of beats from my friend 012, and we tried to write, we did write to it, and we were like, yeah, this is dope, and then I went upstairs to my bro's studio to record it, and I was like, I hate this, I actually just don't like this song. And I called her and I was like, there's some really good melodies and the lyrics are dope, but like I don't like this song. And she was like, fair. I mean, I don't know, we don't have anything to like go off, like we're just playing it on our laptops. And then
isn't
like,
it difficult
try again?
Zoom? It's I don't know what
like,
it is. And
she was like, should we try again? I was like, to be honest, like, nah. It's not inspiring.
It's vibeless, isn't it? It's vibeless.
I don't want to sit in my bedroom on my bed and write a song. Like my whole thing is like my brother's used to it, because like every day he gets up, goes to the gym, comes home and goes in his studio upstairs, and that's how he works. But for me, like I get up, go to the gym, get on the tube, go to the studio, I'm in like another space. I just really, really find it difficult.
Producers are more used to that lockdown.
Like me and David have been recording some stuff, and he's been writing loads of stuff, but he's got like, I don't know. Me and him need to try and work more. He's amazing.
But it's hard, isn't it? Because
I just haven't really had much juice. There's no creativity, because I'll call my friends and I'm like, yo, what are you saying? And they're like, nothing. You? I'm like, nothing. It's really nothing.
Can't rip off someone else's life.
No.
What about virtual dates?
It's like, oh God. You like hate sorts of virtual dates. Oh my God.
I'm finding it difficult. I'm just taking this time to like work out loads and meditate and like healthy and learn
you
how
know
to
what we can be doing? Well, I mean, this is going to lead me to Michelle again in a minute, but we can be also master planning our careers right now. What we're going to do when we get out. We can.
I know my mum told me to do that, but I do that all the time anyway.
You know what? We can be getting lyric ideas together. We can be little melodies on voice notes, even if we can't have access to do these Zooms. And I mean, like people try them. I mean, maybe it's a case of it works with some people and it doesn't with others.
I think mentally as well, it's a different headspace. So the beginning of lockdown, I think there's this like undercurrent of fear that we're all trying to not address and be positive, and creating on top of that I found incredibly difficult for like, I don't know, because I think I've been in lockdown probably longer than everybody else, but only because my partner's got a health condition. So I think like the first 3 weeks I didn't do anything music wise, or a month, and now just like a couple of nights ago I had a little vodka Coke in the evening, feeling a bit lively, you know. And I've got a studio in my basement, just like a little writing area, and had some like what I thought were really good ideas, and was getting like excited on my own. No one to bounce it off of. But that's the first time I felt like truly inspired since the lockdown. I've tried to do things, and I think producers are very different from like top liners. We're like the storytellers, we're communicators. There's a different discipline for a production. Like quite often they do, a lot of producers I know, they do work in solitary, you know, they're very disciplined, just headphones on, they're deep in there, and we're communicators, so it's natural that we want to bounce ideas off from the people that we're in the room with, or do you know what I mean? So the discipline for us to work on our own, it is like a different headspace, but I find vodka and Coke works.
Really, so we should be maybe a little bit kinder to ourselves and not be like, so we got to do this bit, or we can set ourselves challenges. But I just want to mention this one funny thing. Have any of you had a dream about a song? So I once had a dream that I had a #1 with Britney Spears, for real.
Oh, wow.
And the whole video, I could see it.
Was you pissed off when you woke up?
I woke up and I was like, oh my God, look at all these melodies down. It's my destiny. I was like, this is my destiny. I'm going to have a #1. Anyway, I woke up the next morning and I was so excited to listen to this. Literally was like this.
What, in the middle of the night you recorded?
Yeah, I got up and recorded this, and I thought I was singing it, like, but when I heard the next morning.
I've done that, and I've had the same disappointing result.
I've never
not
done
the same
that,
dream. Sometimes I have like background music in my dreams, or there's what do you call it, like there's the same song playing through in my dream. Yeah, but then I'm like, oh my God, this isn't in my dream. I must be quite like compos mentis, because I'm like, is that an original? Or is this like a bonus track? Or is this like, my brain is giving me a gift. And then the same thing.
My brain moves in slow motion. So I'll be singing it. I'll wake up and sing it and then listen to it later and be like, what?
Maybe you need to double, like, speed it up.
Are you like this? So, ladies, unlike us, Michelle, Superwoman Michelle, my dear Michelle, has been completely on the other end of the spectrum. Her husband, who's a very successful producer, a mixer, set her the challenge and forced her. Actually, you like getting locked in rooms, don't you, Michelle?
It seems
he set her the challenge to write a song and do it in a day and release it up like the next day.
Oh, wow.
And this lady here even got a video. And I, you know, Tara, because we both saw it, we were both like, what?
You made the video as well, no?
Yeah, that was the second song. So what
happened was,
challenge. He writes music, he produces music, and he's a mix engineer. So he had a track that he'd kind of played me before, and I'm like, yeah, it's cool. And then he was like, right, write a song challenge. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, yesterday you put on Instagram that you write songs, so write songs then. And he's like, right, I want you to write this song today. We're going to put it tonight. And I was like, you want me to write the song today and we're going to release it tonight on
wow.
SoundCloud.
It's brave.
Yeah.
It's brave because
so
you can't change your mind the next day.
He said he's going to mix it in 2 hours and we're just going to put it up. So I wrote it, I think we started writing around 4. And then he started mixing it around 6 or 7, and it was done. He took a break because my daughter cooked dinner, so he took a break at 8 and ate, and then he finished the mix and we put it up about 9. And then, so what's been happening is people have been sending me stuff. So a friend of mine in Australia, he's a producer, musician called Daniel March, sent me the song that you're talking about. And it's really interesting because I now remember that he sent me that track like nearly 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna get emotional, but I wasn't in the space, so I went back through all my messages, and it sounds completely different as well. And I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't try and write that song 2 years ago, because it was a completely different song, and he developed it and stuff. So he sent me this music, and when it's like I could just see the whole song. I call it the download. Sometimes you hear music and it's like everything comes all at the same time.
Yeah, it clicks. Yeah.
So for me, it was kind of a response to what's going on in terms of the lyrics. So it's like, close your eyes, breathe in, breathe out, visualize. There's no room for doubt, because everything seems different now. Everything in life has changed. But how do we deal with that? We go inside, you know, and it was like a metaphor for being inside, literally locked inside, but also what do you do when you can't move? You go inside internally into your inner peace, into your stillness, into your knowingness, and you operate from that place. And out of that,
it's amazing that you did this challenge, Michelle. It's absolutely amazing. And I would say to anyone out there watching, you know, maybe if you need a little motivation, there's your challenge. Maybe we'll start a little Ivors one day writing.
Write something a day, record it,
get it up and on.
Because
you know, talking about
stuck on our stuff, right? We're always so stuck on our stuff, and we want to take it and change this and change a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And you've got no chance of doing that. It's like, write it. Do you think it's
immediate?
Are you loving it? Yeah, cool.
Done. On to the next one.
On to the next one. And then I got challenged to do the video, and that was like, oh my God. So
I was really impressed.
A filmmaker, and she was like, you need a visual. And there's me, you know, gullible. I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. And send her the track, and she's gonna do it. No, she was like, no, you're gonna make a video. Go into iMovie, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Took me all day, but I'm really proud of the result.
You should be. But you know, talking about dreams, though, I have to say on the flip side of that, I ended up getting the #1 in dance from a dream. Well, it was a real experience, because I was stuck in, I was in WAHO, because obviously I lived in LA for 13 years. And I was coming along Fountain, which is the secret street that you go on. You don't go on Sunset or Santa Monica, you do Fountain. And then I chucked a left up on Highland, and I saw this guy step off a pavement and literally, like, boom, bang, out. And I'm watching all the other cars, and I'm thinking, no one. People were stopping and taking selfies with him. No one was helping him. And then suddenly the lights changed, and I was stuck at the front, and the cars were going like this. And I was thinking, I'm going to see this guy get his head run in, like, for real. Ooh. Anyway, when the lights changed, I put my car in. I was so angry. You know me, I can be a little feisty. And I was like, what is wrong with you people here in America? You can't help someone, call yourself Christians. Anyway, I got this guy in recovery, called his daughter, and he genuinely was someone's just like normal dad.
Wait, what do you mean people were taking selfies with him?
Standing in front going,
what, because he was like dead on the road?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's rough, right? So anyway, I was so upset, like I was in tears, because I just,
of course,
this is the most vacuous town at this point in my life. And I said to my mum, anyway, that night I heard a song and I woke up and it was, Are We Alone? Is anyone listening? Is anyone out there? Is anyone left in this whole world, or are we alone?
Wow.
And you know, everyone's connecting, but the human element, it was all of these things. Anyway, I recorded, I put the dictaphone down and I left it. And the next day I had a session for Beyonce with Dee Ma and Lauren Evans. And we were recording and working on this song. Anyway, I was so distracted, I couldn't do it. And then they were like, what's up? And I was like, told them the story. And they said, play it. And I'm like, no, I know what my dictaphones are like. And I did. Love it, let's work on it. Now, here's a good thing for everyone to know, like if you're a new writer. So because I felt this song was so personal and so just self-absorbed, I never played the song to anyone. I never pitched it. I never did anything. I think it was 3 years later. I was in a session doing BVs for Armand Van Buren, who I've done quite a bit of work with over the years. And another girl was telling a story about this car incident. And I was like, oh my God, this reminds me of my story. And Armand said, play it. And I was having a fight with him. I was like, no. He was like, play it. And I was like, why? And he was like, can you just play it so I can hear it? I was like, why? It's a mid-tempo. And I was like, no. And he was like, just play the song. And in the end, they were getting on me. I was like, oh, for God's sake, just play it. I hadn't even listened to it for years. And he went, I want it. It's my next single. And that just goes to show that sometimes our opinion does not matter. It's more important with songs that we also, as much as we need to love it, it's important that the people we're working with around us and our teams and the public like it. And I don't know if you ladies have ever had any songs where you've particularly not liked them. I mean, I never liked my Enrique song, Not in Love, personally, but but have you guys ever had songs where you actually they've come out and you didn't like them as much?
There's been things, especially in the beginning, because I started off as a featured vocalist, I didn't have any control about how my vocals sounded. Like even on the David Guetta single Delirious, it wasn't a very big hit in the UK, but it was like, it took all over Europe and Asia and Russia, like, because touring for it, I suddenly was going to all these countries I'd never been to before as an artist, and they put too much de-esser on the vocal, and because they're not English speaking, I was like, why do I sound like I've got a lisp? And so that still irks me, and I didn't in the past have in my contract like approval before it went to master, or so that's, but I'd never had management. When I did Axwell Armand Van Helden, I'm really like a DIY artist. I was just sort of trying to hustle, get in the game, and I didn't even have a publishing deal or anything. And and then just sort of having, like now when I look back, thinking that I was sort of very on my own to have 3 hits, even though they weren't my records, I was featuring on them, was really like winning the lottery. Because, I think the landscape's changed a lot now though as well in dance music, which Victoria and I touched on a bit. Like now, obviously, like a big name DJ, dance music is no longer like the underdog of the music industry. It's like a really viable genre now. So the competition to work with these big DJs and producers is that much more difficult than it was when I was starting out. So I'm kind of grateful to have done it back then and not now.
One of the questions we've been asked actually is, how do you get to write and record with massive artists or DJs or producers? So does anyone got an answer for that one, guys?
I honestly, when I first started, my first thing that got me in the door was this Oliver Heldens track. That
of course,
and since after that, because it's such a, like, I think you have to have a proper specific type of voice to sing on dance. Personally, I think your voice needs to be really strong and really, like, because the beat is just so heavy. Like,
or very ethereal if it's trance, you've got very angelic.
But
you definitely need to be aware of the trends going on, don't we? I mean, I remember sitting on a panel, a masterclass once, and this is, you have to be very conscious. If you're gonna, and realistic, if you're gonna write for Katy Perry or someone that's looking for songs, you can't turn in a song that is not appropriate, like genre style. So you do need to be very mindful of that. I'm just kind of looking through the questions, guys, right now.
Oh yeah,
we're nearly wrapped. And obviously, I do want to mention a couple of things very quickly, because Michelle has got her little single up. Please go to Michelle Escoffrey's page very quick. I'm just going to read through these very quickly. Tara is doing something amazing right now. She's re-releasing I Need a Miracle, and she's donating all of her earnings to the NHS. This is incredible. So please, everybody, please do support that.
Oh yeah, and people can be in the music video as well, but because we're doing it like trying to do it quickly so we can get it out quick to raise the money. But if people want to be in the music video and hold up I'm Staying Home for whoever, carers, go to Tara McDonald Official on Facebook or Tara McDonald TV on Instagram, and I'll put details up this week.
And then Kate's, obviously, I mean, she's got her Sport Your Fun single out at the moment, so go check these out, because these ladies here are doing in the place that you're probably aspiring to be. So, you know, checking out this music will give you some inspiration, and you can obviously learn. I mean, I listen to so many songwriters, and that's another way of learning. You know, there's a last question. How do we think age affects us? Youth, middle age, older age? I don't want to call it that.
Probably just experiences, no?
Can I answer Imogen's question, Imogen Williams? How do any of you deal with lack of motivation or low self-esteem?
I can't see that one.
For me, I struggle a lot with self-motivation. Sometimes I find it very hard to motivate myself. And my husband's always waiting on me to write a song, because he's like, I'm not feeling it.
No, you're easy. You just lock you in a room.
Yeah, well, but for me, it's actually taking time to look after myself. So whether that is going out for a walk, or meditating, or talking on the phone with a friend. Like this morning, I spoke on the phone with a friend, and we just laughed at so many stupid little things, and it just helped to really lift my spirits. Just being gentle with yourself, be easy on yourself, and don't beat yourself up if you're not feeling it today. You know, every day is a different day, so approach every day as a different day. We don't have to be productive all the time. We have to also recover and be rest, give ourselves time.
And I find if I've just touching on that quickly, like if something's scheduled for me to do, I bloody well do it.
Yeah.
If it's not scheduled, I might be on Netflix.
I can do it tomorrow.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So I think if you've got a diary. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, show up to your sessions, make the effort. You know, no one else is going to give you this career. If you want it, you have to go for it. You have to do it. Because there isn't a fast track. But there's quite a few people coming on this age thing. And I think age, this is how I view it. Age is like chapters in our lives, but in some ways, the whole streaming world has opened many doors for us. You know, at different chapters in our lives. You know, in some ways you have to be a little bit of a realist I hate to say this, although Subu smashed demographics, but you know, the major labels probably are focusing on the youth.
The youth,
you know, and that's whether it's right or wrong, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Unless you've got a very, very definitive, different kind of sound and route to get that through. So but there are different levels. So I'm trying to say here, don't give up, basically.
Yeah.
Because if you've got a SoundCloud link and you are making, it doesn't matter if you are changing 10 people's lives, 100 people's lives, 1,000, 1,000,000, 100 million. It doesn't matter. If you are reaching, if your music is touching one person's life, then I believe it is worth you continuing your path.
But also do your due diligence, because as Victoria said earlier, trends change, things change. So study that, study phrasing, study how melodies are now, study how music is now and the timing of that music. And if you've got younger people around you, like we've got nephews and, you know, kids and stuff, and listen to what they're listening to and what their head is bobbing to. Because half the time when we're writing stuff and going, oh my God, yeah, this is really good, they're like, meh, I don't get it, or it's boring or whatever. So yeah. You're always learning. Don't feel like you've reached there. You always have something to learn, and it doesn't matter what stage in your career you are, you still have something to learn, and we learn from each other. And I think that there's not enough collaboration cross-generationally. Is that a word?
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that.
We can learn so much from each other.
Yeah, just cut to, we got to wrap soon, unfortunately, but I just want to go to the other end of the spectrum just very quickly before we do a little final wrap. Kay, at the other end of the spectrum, being the youngster in the studio, did that equally go against you when you first were young? Were people going, what does she know? Did you
I never really had that, because I started in like quite a strong crew of people. Like even my friends.
That's because like, you're crazy talented.
Like even my friends or the people I was surrounding myself with all the way back then are still my friends now. But I just mean coming up with them. It's like people aren't going to say, what does she know? Because I'm here with so and so and so and so. So like when you come up, I feel like you should surround yourself with a strong group, because it does make you a lot stronger, like in your mind as well.
That's great.
And a lot more inspired as well, because like I would always go to the studio with all of us together. Like we just all, even if we weren't making music, we'd all just go. Like I used to have a room at the old Psalm in Ladbroke Grove, and I live around there, so I just used to walk up there, and like all of us would just chill, even if we just like, I don't know, like think of some ideas or something. I think surrounding yourself with a bunch of really strong people in the same industry, people can never touch on that, because they're not just coming for you, they have to come for your whole crew. That's not gonna fly. You know what I mean?
That could lead me to a million stories about the crew stories that I've got in LA with the hip hop and stuff, but we'll save those for another day. Ladies, I cannot, on behalf of the Ivors and myself, I cannot thank you enough for joining us today. And it's been absolutely brilliant. And obviously we're going to be hopefully doing this every Tuesday. And maybe, who knows, maybe one of you will come back.
Never know.
As long as it's not a lot early again. I need after 11.
If we go out now, but if you had one line, I'm stealing this off you, Michelle, one line to share of advice, or one thing to say, what would you say, Michelle?
Oh my God, one line.
We'll go to Tara and we'll come back to you.
All right.
Tara.
Something that's helped me very much starting out was keeping hold of people's contacts, because suddenly someone might ask you to do a session. Like my first ever writing session, maybe the song wasn't going to go anywhere, but I kept in contact with everybody in the room. I ended up doing backing vocals for different rock acts, and then I was exposed to more people, and kissed a lot of frogs, and eventually had a hit record. So you have to keep in contact with people. Yeah.
Michelle, you got it?
Yeah. Not being good is not good enough. You've got to be great. So push yourself to be great, and you'll get better results.
Okay.
Stay true to yourself and always trust your gut. Even if you're young and you're signing to the biggest label in the world, those men don't know better than your gut. Okay?
I would say is be honest and don't be scared to rip it up and start again.
Yeah.
That's true.
Thank you so much, ladies, and thank you everyone for watching and participating. Hopefully we'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye. Bye. Bye.